Hi there, this is Marty from owingsart.com, and today we're going to take a look at these Daler and Rowney watercolor pencils. These are an artist grade watercolor pencil according to the manufacturer. Daler and Rowney has been around for about 230 years or so, and they're based in the UK. They've got a lot of different manufacturing plants all over the world now, including the UK, the Dominican Republic, Austria, and Austria happens to be where this particular colored pencil set is made and where they make their colored pencils. But overall, in today's video, I'll swatch out the colors using the dry pencil. Then I'll add some water to show how you can turn colored pencil into watercolor, which is really cool. I'll use them to do a couple of sketches, both on watercolor paper and in a sketchbook, so you can get a sense of how they work in both. And then I'll rate these pencils, talk a little bit about the pros and cons, and then later on, stick around because I go out in the field and do some live sketching. Hope you can join me for that. And then we'll take a look at my friend Archana's really brilliant travel journal. So stick around for all that and more today. All right, so let's kick it off. First of all, you open up this tin. It's a really nice tin, very nicely decorated. You can see here it's got sort of a foam padding in one end just to keep the pencil secure. There's a nice little plastic pencil holder in the bottom of that to keep all the pencils neatly in their rows. And I should quickly mention that Daler and Rowney sells these in 12, 24, and 36 pencil sets like it says here. I think 36 is the total number of pencils in their line. So in the watercolor pencil line. So immediately upon taking these pencils out, you notice really two things right off the bat. One, they feel good in your hand. Two, the color name is actually printed on this pencil. And so is the point of manufacture. Austria is printed on. They kind of have an ugly barcode on there. You can just ignore that. I think that's in case you want to sell individual open stock pencils. Here's a list of colors that come with this particular set. I encourage you to go to the Daler Rowney website to get the color chart there in case you're interested in ordering more of these pencils. But the website, Daler Rowney's website, is a little bit clunky, to be honest. It could be better designed, and they need a little UX, UI design help. So like as you look at these pencils here, you can tell the nice cedar casing, the cores are good and thick. I'd say maybe 3.5 to 3.8 millimeter core. And when you put pencil to paper, they go on really nice. They're creamy. They kind of remind me of Derwent's a little bit. They're soft like that. Not quite as soft as a Derwent, but nowhere near as hard as some other watercolor pencils. And they just go on very nice and smooth. No problem at all sharpening these or any breakage or poor manufacturing that I could pick up on. I think they do a nice job of manufacturing this pencil in Austria. And they probably have some good quality control. Now as I add water here, a couple of things I'm looking for is one, how well does the color disperse? In other words, when I put a little color on this paint, do I see any remnant lines underneath the color after it's been given a treatment of water here? And the answer is not much. And the other thing I'm going to really look for with these is how vibrant are the colors. Get a little closer here and you can take a look, but I don't think that the colors with these pencils are as vibrant as you can find in other artist grade watercolor pencils, but they aren't bad. And when you consider everything else about these pencils, you might be tempted to buy them yourselves. We'll do a little comparison to other pencils later on, but yeah, for now, that's what I want to say about that. So here I'm just going to draw a bunch of colors and then mash them up together here. And you can see right there, I'm not adding a ton of water. This is, by the way, 140-pound watercolor paper. I think I listed a little later on. But you can see here, it disperses very well. I don't see a lot of remnant pencil line underneath there. And it really, I'm not soaking the paper, so I didn't have a lot of trouble with any warpage in the paper or anything like that. Not that that would be the colored pencil's responsibility. I'm just saying this particular Canson watercolor paper held up pretty well. And so this is just going to be a quick sketch, and so I'll get that done and then I'll add a color here and we can see what it looks like. So you can sort of see sketching on both the watercolor paper and the sketchbook was pretty fun with these pencils. I didn't add a ton of color, but you get an idea anyway. All right, so let's do a comparison. Here's the Daler and Rowney artist watercolor pencils you just looked at. Let's compare them to the student grade, higher student grade, Faber-Castell Art Grip watercolor pencil. And you can see here, even in Faber-Castell student grade, you're getting a somewhat more vibrant color. Like you compare the colors there, you can see sort of the difference in vibrancy. And here's the Derwent Inktense. Of course, in Inktense you expect to be much more vibrant, and so that's a little bit of an unfair comparison. But when I think about the colored pencils and vibrancy in general, that doesn't always equate to a great colored pencil, because you can get, there's a Staedtler Carrot, you can take a look there, but you can get an artist watercolor pencil that's very vibrant but not very light fast, or very vibrant but multiple pigments. And so that makes a difference. Now, here's the Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer watercolor pencil, and you can see here the dispersion with the Albrecht Dürer in that particular frame is not great. I did rub a little hard with those, but you can see the color is going to be much more vibrant, a much brighter color. And some manufacturers use what's called a brightener. It's a little way to cheat things. But, if you're doing a sketch, you have to decide as an artist if you want a more muted palette or a more vibrant palette, and this is one way to check that. There is the Museum Aquarelle pencils by Caran d'Ache, the Swiss company, and these are probably some of my favorite pencils in the entire world. And you can compare there a little bit. So you see how the vibrancy is more maybe subdued than the Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer with the Caran d'Ache, but still I trust them and their quality and their light fastness because I've tested them. All right, well, here's the ratings on these Daler and Rowneys. On a scale of 1 to 10, I found the hardness to be about 6.5, so, just right in that sweet spot. Color vibrancy was just average, you saw that. And as far as the core, I gave that a 7 because it's a nice, good-sized core. You're going to get a lot of use out of these pencils. Dispersion was good, I'd say above average. Sharpening, no problems at all. Overall quality, I gave it a 6, which is above average. So the only knock on the quality really was maybe in the fact that the colors weren't so vibrant, and maybe putting that dopey barcode on the side of the pencil. I know that's not a big deal for some people, but for me it just takes away or distracts from the aesthetic of the pencil itself, which in my estimation should be its own piece of art. And light fastness, we'll have to determine that at some point. But value, I gave these a 7 because they really are an affordable watercolor pencil. So especially an artist grade water pencil. And like I said, if the preference comes down to you as an artist for whether or not you like a more muted palette or the very vibrant and bright palette, then you just kind of have to decide what sort of watercolor pencil do I want to use. And we'll check the light fastness on these pencils at some point down the line. I still have got to do a lot of reporting on old light fast tests I've done, but I've been pretty impressed with most of the watercolor pencil manufacturers out there. There's some ones that aren't as great as others, but there's definitely some clear winners. Caran d'Ache is among those, Faber-Castell as well, especially in their blues as far as light fastness goes. So yeah, I mean, overall very affordable, and you can see that little plastic container that the bottom layer of pencils sits in when they're in the tin, and that's pretty cool. And the tin itself is pretty cool. It's commemorative, it's nice. It's going to cost you about $20 US as of this month, but you can sometimes find these on sale or use a coupon or whatever if you need to. Blick's always sending out these coupons, so 40% off a single non-sale item, or Jerry's or any of these places online, or you can try my friends at Wet Paint. I believe they carry Daler and Rowney products as well. And yeah, you can see here these are just a nice size for your hand, and even if for little kids who want to use them as well. And they are non-toxic, and they conform to the ASTM standards. So, yeah. I mean, you can feel good about kids using these as well. Well, here's what I liked about these. I thought they had great dispersion. They're an awesome value for the price. The color names are on the barrel. I give a lot of credit to Daler and Rowney for doing that. That's really important. Give us, manufacturers, just give us the name of the color on the barrel. And I know Derwent does that too, and they give it crazy names, and you have to go find a color chart to figure out exactly what strawberry teal means, or, you know, something like that, ice cream blue. Here's what I didn't like about these pencils. The round barrel. I always like hexagonal barrels because when you're using a pencil on its tilted work surface, it won't slide off. These just roll right down. And then the color vibrancy. I'm an artist that depends on a little bit more vibrancy versus a muted color, so I like that. Okay, this is a little bit of a bonus coverage on a couple of different watercolor half pans that I was sent recently by my friend Anya in Germany. These are Schmincke half pans. One is a Delft Blue and the other is an earth green, and they are just beautiful. So look at the beautiful vibrancy in this Delft Blue. I mean, this is just an extraordinary paint. And people ask me, what is your everyday watercolor you use for finished work and sketching? And my answer for the past 15 years has always been the same. It's Schmincke. Schmincke makes the best, most consistent, most vibrant colors for me. This is my preference. I do use Daniel Smith watercolors as well, and they're very excellent. And I use some other manufacturers' watercolors, and they're also excellent. But when the chips are down and I really need to use great watercolor, I just go to Schmincke. I just love their paints. And so I was so happy when Anya sent me these half pans and I got a chance to test them out. Here you can see that the earth green is a little bit more muted, but it's supposed to be. This is the way it looks, and in amongst all of the greens that Schmincke makes, this is a good one for trying to obtain sort of a different tone of greens in summer, because in summer you see so much green. This will help you find just a different tone, and so it's cool. So here you can just, you know, see for yourself what these colors look like. I just think these are great. So speaking of, and here's just an accelerated drawing of this. So if you watch the video, you'll kind of see the paint as it dries away there. It's pretty cool. All right, so I wanted to, speaking of Daniel Smith, wanted to take a look at this Cerulean Blue Chromium I just picked up at Wet Paint the other day, and I want to give it a try, so I'll try just a little touch of it here and get my brush wet. And this is single pigment paint, as I understand it. I hope I'm reading the codes in the back the correct way. And I think I put the PB or the color name right on here. But again, nice, vibrant cerulean color. And you'll find, I think if you're a sketcher or a landscape artist, you're going to look for a cerulean blue for some of your skies. And this is a really nice cerulean blue. I also like my Schmincke cerulean blue, and I like the, I can't remember if it was the M. Graham cerulean blue or a different brand I recently tried, but I was pretty impressed with their blue as well. So there you can see it's PB36. So here's just a quick look again at some of the stuff I looked at today, but I can recommend the Daniel Smith for sure, and of course the Schmincke. They're awesome. And I do squeeze that Daniel Smith right into my half pans and take it away out sketching with me in the palette in my watercolor kit. All right, here's a quick sketch I did while on site out sketching at the coffee shop recently. know that went pretty fast, but I want to take a look and have you see some of Archana's great work in her travel journal. She takes this everywhere, different places she goes, and I think it's pretty cool. So here's a look at Archana's journal. Okay, that was a pretty quick tour through Archana's travel journal. This is a handbook journal sketchbook, I believe, and it's got some nice heavy watercolor paper. She's about 2/3 done with it, so I'm excited to see where her travels and her drawings take us next. Thanks for checking that out with me today, and as well as the other products I reviewed. If you get a chance, go to owingsart.com, scroll down on the page, just right at the top there, roll over to the right a little bit, and there should be a blue button right there that says follow. Click that, and about once or twice a month or so, you'll get a little note saying that I've posted something new on the website, and hopefully it'll engage and interest you. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, and share this video if you enjoyed what you saw today. Well, thanks for stopping by, and I hope you have a great week. So long, everybody. This has been Marty for owingsart.com.
Don't forget to check out owingsart.com.